Anais!
You asked for it, the Amazing World of Gumball Round 2 coming in. Today, we're going to be learning about and breaking down some of the crazy medical type situations and injuries of one of your faves, the Amazing World of Gumball. But before we get into it, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Dr. Jordan Wagner. If you enjoy the educational reaction videos and other stuff that you see here on this channel, please smash that subscribe button and turn your bell notifications on. That way you learn when I post a new video. All right, let's dive right in. Pretty altered. Whoa. Lucky. Oh!
Oh, Anais!
No way did that not cause a worsening injury than just a black eye. That was a massive piece of metal right to the brain, to the skull. You gotta worry about skull fracture, facial fractures, rupture of the eye, we call that a globe rupture. You're also worried about bleeding in the brain, brains everywhere.
All's well that ends well. Let's all go home and run a CT scan and another blood test.
Oh my gosh, so a CT scan, which is also called a CAT scan, which is thousands of x-rays, little slices, maybe like 5mm separations, and then it's reconstituted into a 3D image, and then some blood work. So if you're doing blood work to check to see if somebody's altered, you check your blood sugar, check your tox screen. So there are multiple tests that we can actually do when somebody is altered when they come to me.
You've been out of it for 36 hours.
And 12 bedpans.
Comas, it's a general term that we actually don't use in the medical world, but it's an easy way to describe if somebody's just sleeping, their heart is beating, and having other normal functions of their body. People will say that the doctors put them in a medical induced coma, so we're basically using a sedative to keep them asleep, and usually that has to do with either agitation of the patient or keeping the patient sleeping, resting, so we can actually help body relax and do all the different treatments that we need to do to get them better faster.
Bye.
Oh, get some sort of reaction, and oh geez, get him to the hospital. Get some epinephrine in him.
Feel bad. Disgusting. He looks.
Oh my God, he's having a skin reaction.
The clarinet again.
It is never good when like you're sick and you're not feeling well and people are like, you look horrible.
Someone's here to see you, honey. Hi, Gumball.
Hey.
I brought someone along who...
So even the tongue is swollen. Oh, nice. Get the spider out of there. Holy cow. Somebody has a bad allergic reaction. I think that's what this is. The initial one, if there's any airway compromise, tongue swelling, throat swelling, chest pain, epinephrine. And then you also follow that up with steroids, potentially Benadryl, and obviously you give IV fluids because what happens in an allergic reaction, you get vasodilation, which then can plummet your blood pressure. So you want to give fluids to increase intravascular volume so you can keep the blood pressure up. And then you watch. And you want to make sure as epinephrine wears off and the other medications are kicking in that the reaction is calming down. Whites of the eyes are changing into like red. That's called scleral injection, and that can actually be caused by a multitude of medical issues. Even just dry eyes can cause that, or lack of sleep. What the heck was that? Weird flashing strobe lights can actually potentially induce seizure activities. People who have seizures or also epilepsy basically are at risk for having more seizures depending on lack of sleep, missing their medications, drugs, and weird lights and movements.
You boys are very lucky to be alive. You have experienced a cringe level of 100,000 DJ. That's the equivalent of hearing 100,000 dad jokes all at once.
This doctor's making a joke about bad dad jokes, and they're actually at the hospital. They got IV lines. But high decibel music, loud music, basically can cause permanent hearing damage. Could potentially blow out your eardrums due to the pressure coming from the speakers if you're very close. Serious things that could happen depending on how close and how loud you are to music sources. And who doesn't like dad jokes? I like dad jokes. If you guys know any, please let me know in the comments below. I need some extra ones for my repertoire.
Look at their eyes. They're all weird.
Maybe it's because you've been shining a flashlight into them for half an hour.
The point of shining a light in the eye has to do with the relationship of the eye and the central nervous system. So you're just making sure that you're having normal pupillary reflex, which means that your brain is still intact.
I had no other choice but to put the subjects in
Oh, it's
quarantine.
so creepy.
Their state is deteriorating. I will soon have proof of their infection.
In the ER, we have different types of rooms. For instance, if you have measles virus, you'd be in an airborne precaution room, which then is negative pressure. Not every facility, not every hospital has these rooms, so you have to be really careful. If somebody actually comes into a specific area with measles, because it's airborne, they actually lock down the area and you kind of can't leave. What? No, definitely the monitors don't do that. Actually, there's something called monitor fatigue because sometimes at hospitals, monitors are going off so frequently that people actually tune them out and they actually don't hear them. So you actually have to be really aware, hypervigilant, not to get to that level. So you're always paying attention.
Oh my gosh.
Things that are on their head are looking for EEGs. It's testing for different types of waveforms relating to seizure activity or epilepsy. Oh my gosh, they did have the happiness disease. Proof that there's a pandemic of happiness and a disease going on. Questionable, but that was actually kind of a funny episode.
Hi, Mom! What are you doing?
Cool.
I just ran away to avoid walking!
Wait a minute, found a way not to walk, but we need to walk because walking brings our blood back to our heart to then repump it out. That's why when people aren't moving or contracting their muscles, especially if they're bedbound, they have an increased risk of blood clots because the blood is just pooling. It is really important to walk.
Are you sure that thing is safe?
What makes you say that?
Probably that weird thing on your nose.
What?
It seems teleportation is dangerously affecting your DNA.
So you're saying I'm getting superpowers?
No, that's a rather specific interpretation of what I just said.
But you're not saying that I won't.
So is it really going to cause issues with your DNA? Our DNA is so robust and so cool. It has its own checks and balances and checks to make sure that there's no errors in the DNA. Things happen, and that's like cancer cells. Cancer cells are DNA gone totally rogue and wrong, getting transcribed and having an error that was fixed, and it just keeps replicating itself.
Indeed. But I would say there is a 99.9% chance you will turn into a cyst-like pile of flesh with tongues where there shouldn't be tongues.
Oh.
So a cyst is actually just a collection of fluid and typically isn't super bad. A lot of times in our bodies we get renal cysts, which is your kidneys. You can get ovarian cysts. Sometimes it can develop into a larger cyst and cause issues, and depending on the size, may have to get it removed. Let's not make cysts. Let's not scramble our DNA.
Right. I understand.
Good. Finally.
So you're saying there's a 0.01% chance that I could get superpowers?
Oh no. There's always a chance something could happen, but there's a lot greater chance that something bad could happen. So the doctor's trying to advise him not to do that.
Hey, dude. Whoa. Looks like you've been teleporting.
Oh,
a lot.
nice. We don't have that, but we definitely have people that get weird growths. You can get these cysts, maybe if you burn yourself, you can get a big collection of fluid on the face. Sometimes there's elephantitis, which then can cause these weird growths on the face, or abnormal skin tags, or these skin horns that can kind of grow due to too much keratin in the skin. So there are other things that are related medically that can actually be unsightly, so to speak.
I need everyone to stop acting like they use paint fumes for cologne.
So the mom's making a joke about brain cells. You can actually kill brain cells with paints and different fumes. Please do not sniff them, huff them, do these things. People come to the emergency department unconscious, losing brain cells because of the fumes and the chemical reactions that are occurring. That's not good. Awesome. The Amazing World of Gumball always has some unique twists, medical issues that they have to deal with. I love it. It's a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed watching this, check out this playlist right here. And as always, make sure you subscribe, turn those bell notifications on. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, my friends.